Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji, welcome to today's class. We shall be covering chapter number 11, Vishwarup Sandarshana, or the yoga, or the universal form. So we have so far covered 10 chapters. We are in the mid of Bhakti Yoga, almost being closed. We are close to the end point of Bhakti Yoga section of Srimad Bhagavadgita. Before we start, let us have a prayer to Shri Radha Govinda, the presiding deity at Temple, ISKCON Temple, Mangaluru, and also pay our obeisances to His Grace, Nam Nishdasji, by whose mercy we are here, listening the message of Lord Krishna through Arjuna. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnani Timirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah. Om Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gaurvani Pracharni Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता श्री राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to today's class. So let us a very quick recap. What was the name of the last chapter? Chapter number 10. Anyone?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Vibhuti Yoga.
Vibhuti, the opulences of the Lord. Before that, chapter number 9. Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam. The most confidential knowledge that Lord had given, right? And before that, attaining the Supreme. And before that, chapter number 7 was the knowledge of the Absolute. So we have gone through how gradually Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that from Karma Yoga to Dhyan Yoga, and then from Dhyan Yoga to Bhakti Yoga. And he has, in chapter number 6, last verse, he has already established that Ashtanga Yoga is very difficult in this present time of the Iron Age of Kali. So the best thing is Bhakti Yoga. And Bhakti Yoga, it started with the knowledge of the Absolute, then how to attain that knowledge. Then Lord Krishna gave the most confidential knowledge, Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam, Pavitram Idam Uttamam, highest. And Abhyayam Sukham Kurtam, so many qualities he mentioned about that most confidential knowledge. Then Vibhuti Yoga, that when you have Arjuna was very skeptical how to remember you, how to know you, because with material eyes nobody can know you and understand you or see you. Then he said Vibhuti Yoga, the opulences that is prevalent all over the universe, or in the manifested form, that is the best, most sublime, most extraordinary, most beautiful, is represented by Krishna. The 82 qualities he mentioned, opulences. And then at the end he said that they are just mere spark of my divinity, my great splendor. And ultimately he asked Arjuna, where is the need to know all these things, Arjuna? By a small spark of my energy, I pervade the entire universe. Now this was the setting for the chapter number 11, or the universal form. So when he pervades universal form, how does he look like? How does he pervade? Because he was standing before Arjuna in that chariot and giving all kind of answers to all his doubts and questions. So how he pervades this entire universe, that is, from Sakha Bhav to Dasya Bhav, now the Bhav relationship between Arjuna and Krishna is going to change in this chapter. So we'll come to know about it as we proceed ahead. So Arjun, yes, somebody would be, this is a very long chapter, so we have to go a bit fast so that we can finish in time. Yes, anybody would like to read? Please continue reading those verses. Would like to volunteer?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Arjuna Uvacha Mad Anugrahaya Paramam Guhyam Adhyatyam Asinchatam Yatvam Ayogyam Vasatsena Vachastena Mahoyam Vigato Mama.
Mohoyam bigato mama. My illusion has now been dispelled. But again, he is illusioned. And what was the illusion? Illusion was dispelled in chapter number 9 itself. And chapter number 10 again, when he heard about the opulences in the material cosmos, that by which the Krishna pervades everything. And he also mentioned that you can remember me and idolize me by seeing those opulences in the material nature. So then he said, by simple fragment of my energy, I pervade and support the entire universes and the planets, everything. So then why did Arjuna want to see the universal form? Can anybody explain why? You have just heard the verses from chapter 11. Okay, I will take it up anyway, no problem. We know Krishna is Aja. He is Adi. He is the cause of all causes. He is the source of everything. He is the creator, he is the maintainer, he is the alienator. And he is the controller also, everything. He is the transcendental, and time to time he manifests himself and also becomes unmanifest. Similarly, the living entities and the entire material nature also gets manifested at certain stages. It stays there for some time and then become unmanifest, abhyakt. So Krishna's allusion has already been dispelled in chapter number 7, chapter number 9, and chapter number 2. Now, he is seeing Krishna present before him in the chariot. And the Krishna at the same time is saying that I pervade every universe and everything is supported by me and everything is running in very disciplined manner, doing its work, revolving or rotating or coming up and down. So then his illusion again is what he is, but you are ultimately Krishna. So Krishna, we know he is a Pitamaha. Brahma is Pitamaha. He is the first living entity. He is the grandfather of every living entity. Whereas Krishna is father of Brahma, that is Prapitamaha. So now Arjuna is illusion, what you are, how you enter the cosmic manifestation when you are standing here before me and you say that you are pervading entire universe and cosmic manifestation are coming from you and everything is ultimately getting annihilated and getting into you. So what kind of person you are? You are not a normal person. That is one thing which. Now, why is this happening? Because we are suffering from 6 kind of changes. But Krishna is not suffering any, does not undergo any kind of changes. We take birth in the womb of mother. We grow. Then thereafter we stagnate for some time. Then we produce some effects. That is in the form of some offsprings and other things. Then gradually we dwindle or we become old and we dwindle, our energies dwindle, and ultimately we vanish from this material universe. Similarly, the universe is also subject to manifestation and unmanifestation like this. So Arjuna is bewildered now. When manifestation and living entities are subject to being manifested and being unmanifested, how you are pervading the entire universe. So Krishna says that in the last chapter we heard about Adideva, 6 questions that were, or 8 questions that were asked. One of them was Adideva. So the cosmic manifestation of Krishna is nothing but the universal form, right? So now next question, this is summary. O lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity as realized through your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see here before me your actual position, I yet to wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O Lord, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that universal. What a polite and humble appeal of Arjuna to Lord Krishna. Now, already we have seen that how he is present there. Then he is already present in all the universes, all the planets, all the living entities. Then how come he wants to see what kind of universal form is there, which pervades, which through which Krishna pervades everywhere. So our body is undergoing changes, as I told you. Then also Krishna has said that Maya tatam idam sarvam abhyakt murtina. And also he said, Aham sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravarti. I am pervading all universes, and I am the creator of all spiritual and material universes. So how you have entered this cosmic manifestation, Arjuna got illusioned again. Though he was convinced fully and he has surrendered now. So one question here comes up. Then last paragraph, if you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that. Kindly show me that. If you think that I am able to behold, Krishna, Arjun is seeking whether he is qualified to see that universal form of Lord Krishna or not, because Krishna, he is accepted as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is a master of all yogic manifestations or yogic exercise or mystic powers, yogic powers. The Blessed Lord said, "O my dear Arjuna, O son of Pratha, behold now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of very divine forms, multicolored like the sea. Whatever you wish to see can be seen all at once in this body. This universal form can show you all that you can desire, as well as whatever you desire in the future. Everything is here completely. But you cannot see me with present eyes. Therefore, I give to you divine eyes by which you can behold my mystic opulence." So here, there are a couple of important points here. Behold, now Krishna considered Arjuna worth manifestation of his universal form that he could see, he was qualified to see, because he was a devotee, he was a surrendered soul, he was a friend of Arjuna, as well as he was non-envious of Krishna. So that is why Krishna agreed to reveal his universal form. So second point is, like this, let us compare ourselves. We can't see what is happening beyond 500 meters or at the most 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers away. So we have seen that example of a impression was given that ocean, or then we came to see closer, we saw a tree, then getting further closer, we saw a parrot, and then we saw the parrot. So our vision is affected. So whatever, but we can't see. So whatever you wish to see, you can see all at once in this body. You see, we can see one thing at a time only, but everything seen at one place is impossible. We can look at a sky, we can see sun, or we can't see moon with some of the stars, but at the same time we can't see the earth or the sea. So this universal form can show you all at once whatever you wish to desire, as well as whatever you may desire in the future. Because Krishna understood the illusion of Arjuna, and he knew that doubts will still continue to come in his mind. So he said that, okay, whatever you want to see now, whatever you will ever like to see in the future, I am going to show you. And lastly, he says that with your material eyes, you cannot see me. Because we know that with material eyes, we can't see Krishna, because our vision is defective, the inherent four defects of human living entities. So, which you can behold so Krishna gives him divine vision. That is, like we know that this represents the divine vision. In fact, Sanjay also had divine vision, which was given to him by mercy of Who gave divine vision to Sanjay so he could see things happening hundreds of miles away from him? Anyone?
Krishna only? Lord Krishna?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you are not audible.
Lord Krishna himself?
No,
Or
no,
what?
Vedvyasji.
Okay.
Vedvyasji had given him this. Okay, Prabhuji. So, Sanjay उवाच एवम् उक्त्वा ततो राजन् महायोगेश्वरो हरिः दर्श्याम् आस पार्थाय Paramam Rupam Aishwaram. Sanjay said, O king, having spoken thus, the supreme lord of mystic power, the personality of God, had displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Now, universal form, you can just see a small, this is Sanjay is describing to the trust about what he saw, because he also had divine vision. That is why he was sitting in Hastinapur and narrating what was happening in Kurukshetra battlefield. So he says that Lord Krishna displayed his divine form. Now, Sanjay was bewildered now at this stage. That is why you can see his on his facial expression, both Dhritarashtra and Sanjay, they are relatively disturbed and bewildered. Now, Krishna showed this kind of, on right-hand picture, you can see that this is the universal form not showed to Arjuna. Now, there is one question here. This universal form is of Lord Krishna is real or temporary or permanent? Is it real or not really real? Because it is transcendental both ways, whether it is temporary or permanent. So what is this form? Is it temporary or permanent?
Temporary.
Why temporary? What others have to say about it?
I think it's permanent, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other
That
opinion?
is why we call Sanatan.
Yeah. No. Any other opinion whether it is temporary or permanent? Well, it is a temporary form because we can't have relationship. We have not seen Krishna in this form ever. We have never imagined. We cannot have any kind of rasa or relationship or mellow with Lord Krishna. And Lord Krishna is a person. He's a person. He is transcendental, no doubt. We can feed him. We can dress him. We can pray to him, worship him. But this form is so terrible that Sanjay is bewildered and he's astonished also. So this is, in fact, on the request of Arjuna. He showed this form to Arjuna Arjuna because it is not a real permanent form. Permanent form is in the Golok Vrindavan, who is performed. Lord Krishna is performing his divine pastime with his, with his devotees there. So this is just a temporary form at the request. And why did Krishna show this this form, divine form, this universal form to Arjuna? Or rather through Arjuna to for the entire humanity? Any guess? Why did Arjuna want to see this universal form? Anyway, first reason was to show his divinity. Krishna wanted to show his divinity, and not really Krishna, but Arjun wanted to see his divinity and also show it to all of the entire humanity. Second point was to convince others about Krishna's divinity, because there were many fence-sitters, many doubtful persons who doubted Krishna's divinity. So that is why he wanted to convince others that Krishna is divine. Third reason was that because some imposters in future will proclaim themselves as God or so-called God, they cannot show this universal form. It is only Krishna who can show universal form. Then,
Prabhuji, one query on this note.
yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, this universal form which was shown by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, So was this even visible by the other people who were
We
fighting?
will come to it, Prabhuji. Yes, very interesting point. This is the next question I'm going to ask. So first was to show divinity to all. Second was to convince that Krishna is divine. Also that Krishna is should be convinced about his divinity. Others should be convinced about Krishna's divinity. And third was to ward off imposters who might claim themselves that we are God and we have taken avatar or we are Kalki avatar or something. So any such imposters or fraud persons cannot. And to substantiate Krishna's statement so that people may understand Krishna in correct perspective. Normally, Duskritan, they do not worship Krishna. They consider, Brahmavadis do not consider Krishna as a person. So to convince others, substantiate Krishna's statement that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that I am two-limbed, and I am residing in Goloka Vrindavan. That is my abode. So that was the. Now, who others could saw this divine form, though it is given in subsequent verses, but I'll let you know here itself. First was the Arjuna, right? Can anybody answer who could see this universal form in the battle?
Sanjay.
Arjun, Sanjay, yes, very nice. Third person,
Barbaric.
Barbarika, very nice. Grandson of Bhim, right?
Kach.
Ghatotkash was son, and then Ghatotka's son was Barbarika. He was sitting at the hilltop, right? Third person, fourth. What about Hanumanji? Hanumanji was present in the flag over the chariot. Then when the Lord is showing this universal form, lot of Devi Devtas, demigods, they were scared. They came out and with folded hand prayed to Lord Krishna that please come back to your, because they had not seen his two-arm forms. They always used to pray and worship for having a vision of two-arm forms. But this was terrible form. Everything started shattering. The entire universe, everybody. So they were so terrified that they came out and prayed. And all the divine servants, all the yakshas and Gandharvas, they also prayed, please come back. So there are 6 couple of persons who could see Lord Krishna's universal form. So what did now Sanjay is describing to Dhritarashtra at the same time, what Arjuna saw? Unlimited mouths and unlimited eyes. Wondrous. In fact, it was all wondrous, decorated with divine dazzling ornaments, arrayed in many garbs. He was garlanded profusely or gloriously, and there were many scents smeared over his body. All was magnificent, all expanding, unlimited. There was no beginning, no middle, no end, and this was seen by Arjuna. So this is being narrated by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra. If hundreds of thousands of suns rose up at once into the sky, they might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that uniform. The effulgence, we can't stare at single sun for a few seconds only. The effulgence is so bright and warm, and in fact, gaze is so difficult. But there were thousands of suns, effulgence equivalent to thousands of suns. Can you imagine what kind of bewilderment and astonishment in the mind of Arjuna and all those people who were there watching, they could have in their mind. So just take another example. If we are driving a car, it is
4,000 sir ka 500 mera piece.
Sorry, what?
I'm just kidding.
Okay, no, no, this is not described in Bhagavad-gita. There are thousands of suns. Suns were thousands and millions of heads and mouths and eyes and everything, and beautifully ornamented, scented, garbed, and everything. So, body, it was I was giving another example. We can't gaze at sun. Number 2, if we are driving in the evening time, that is dusk time, and we have a direct vision of the sun, then driving becomes so difficult. It is so. But here were thousands of suns, hundreds of thousands of suns. So how difficult it would have been for Arjuna and others to behold that form. Then he says, At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe. This is the doubt or illusion how you are pervading the entire universe. You are standing before me, situated in one place. We as I mentioned earlier, sitting at one place, we can see a straight or maybe side views of both sides a little. We can't see back. So everything was situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So whatever we see in this universe, it was visible to Krishna, to Arjuna, and Krishna revealed that universal form. All that could be seen there in the universe at any point of time, from any direction, it was all there present in one place.
The previous slok, Prabhuji, this is told by Sanjaya, is it?
Yes, Prabhuji, Sanjay is now narrating to this Dhritarashtra, in fact, that what Arjuna saw, this is being mentioned here. Now, from here onwards, this is what Arjuna's perception is there. Right? At that time, Arjuna could see in the universe form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. So this is what Arjuna is seeing now. Yes, Mataji. Tata sam vismaya avishto Rashtroma Dhananjaya Pranamya Sirsha Devam Kritanjali Abhasata. Then bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands he began to pray to the. Now Arjuna's desire to have a look of the universal form is fulfilled. So he says that he surrendered and he got in a great stage of ecstasy. Now he is praying to Lord Supreme Lord. Arjuna said, "My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled together in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents." So this is what Arjuna is seeing now, that he is seeing everything, including demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva also. So, O Lord of the universe, I see in your universal body many, many forms, bellies, mouths, eyes, expanded without limit. There is no end, there is no beginning, and there is no middle at all to all this. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, which is fiery and immeasurable. Sorry. So you can see here, expanse is so vast all around, all the demigods, all the living entities with these multiple mouths, millions of mouths and eyes. They represent not Krishna's form, but also all the living entities that are there in all of the universes and planets. All they can be seen in Krishna's universal form. So the effulgence is like this. Your form, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs, is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence. Hundreds of thousands of suns, which is fiery and immeasurable like the sun. So, why Arjuna wanted to see this universal form, we have already discussed. Now, scientists are in fact basically trying to work upon the fact how this creation took place. And they are talking about Big Bang theory and so many other things. So how this cosmos is made up of, all these things are a subject of query. But in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 1, all these aspects of creations are described so vividly that each and every step of creation is mentioned if we go through that. So even NASA scientists, they have a big project of worth billions of dollars to know what is the origin of the universe. So, but it is, as I mentioned, it is very well described in Canto number 1 and also Canto number 5 of Srimad Bhagavatam. The Maya, if you remember, there was one category of Duskrityanos who will not like to know Krishna, and those were scientists and Maya Aprat Jnanam. those scientists and philosophers, they were mental speculators, illusion, their memory or intelligence and is stolen by illusion. So they are not able to understand, they don't want to understand Krishna also. So Arjuna is now astonished and bewildered also, and he is watching this universal form. So firstly, we just now discussed that it is temporary form, because we cannot develop any kind of relationship with this universal form. With two-hand form of Krishna, we can have a loving relationship, we can worship him. We can't dress this universal form because it is a temporary manifestation of Lord himself, and it is not a so here you can see the demigods like Brahma and Shivas are also there. That means they have origin from Lord Krishna. That is an indirect indication. All the living entities, sages, serpents, so many bellies, mouths, eyes, or everything is visible in this form. So it is an effulgence, the effulgence is so much that it is very difficult to behold this form. Then he says that you are now he is praying. He says, started, surrendered to Lord, his illusion is gone, and he is now praying. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all the universes. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest, right? You are the maintainer of the religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. Then he says, you are the origin without beginning, middle, or end. You have numberless arms, and the sun and moon are among your great unlimited eyes. By your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. So many points are made clear here. You see, you are origin without beginning. You know, he is the cause of all causes. He is Ananta, he is Adi. There is no middle or end. The original form he was watching had no limits. The sky has a limit. We can see that from this point to this point. But this universal form had no limits at all. Numberless arms, suns and moons are among your great unlimited. So divine form has been compared to certain kind of manifestations in relation to. So these mountains are compared to the bones of the Lord Krishna. We know there are so many high-rise mountains all over the world or all over the universes. And these sun moons are compared to the eyes of the Krishna. So by your own radiance, you are heating this entire universe. So that means the sun god is deriving his heating energy from Lord Krishna, personal body. And the Brahman effulgence, that impersonalists believe that is the goal of their sadhana or yoga. That is also the effulgence which is emanating from the Lord Krishna's transcendental body. And the blueness sky, as we discussed earlier, some devotees consider that is the blue hue or color of Lord Krishna's body, which is giving blue color to the sky. So this is how devotees see this universal form or the opulence of Lord. Although you are one, you are spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, as I behold this terrible form, I see that all the planetary systems are perplexed. All the planetary systems. So these all planets, the people, living entities residing in those planets, they were very, very perplexed because of the terrible form which Lord Krishna showed to Arjuna. So now he says that it is very, very difficult to form. The entire planetary systems were terrified, so that people residing in these planetary system, they also prayed. They are also now coming to pray with Arjuna. We can't have relationship. They are astonished and bewildered. So demigods were also afraid, and they were now praying. All the demigods are surrendering and entering into you. They are very much afraid. With folded hands, they are singing the Vedic hymns because they have not seen anything such of Lord Krishna before, not even this form, even the two-arm forms. They are so eager and anxious to see that Lord, which is so difficult for them to get an opportunity to do so. So now they are terrified, all demigods. They are praying, that so much distressed that they are praying with folded hands and saying Vedic hymns. O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your many, many faces, eyes, arms, bellies, and legs, and your terrible teeth. And as They are disturbed, so am I. I am also very disturbed. Now this shows that the universal form, Lord Krishna is pervading his entire creation, and universes, all the universes.
Your voice is breaking, Prabhuji.
Or is it?
Your voice is not clear, Prabhuji. I think there's some network issue.
But anyway, is it better now, Prabhuji? Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, you are audible now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Maybe there may be some network problem. I'm sorry for it. So that means now, you see, firstly, in the first phase, he wanted to see that universal form. In second form stage, when Lord Krishna revealed his universal form, he was terrified, bewildered, and so much astonished. So the relationship from Sakhya to Dasya, Dasya to wonder, that is now established here. That wonder is a secondary type of relationship. We know there are 5 primary and 7 secondary relationships. So he's wondering now. Not only he, but all the demigods, yakshas, divine servants, everybody in the higher planets, they are also perturbed. So he says, "Oh, all-pervading Vishnu, I can no longer maintain my equilibrium." So he has lost his balance now. "Seeing your radiant colors fill the sky and beholding your eyes and mouth, I am afraid." He is now scared. So that is another stage of bhava relationship with Krishna that he is developing now gradually. The Blessed Lord said, "Time I am, destroyer of the worlds, and I have come to engage all people with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be annihilated, will be slain." So Lord Krishna says that time I am. Kalo asmi, aham kalo asmi. I'm the time. And you know what is the origin of time? Time originated from the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Krishna. This is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 3, that the time deity, time is a deity also. We should be very, very.
Prabhuji, one question here.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we say time, but actually we call Mahakal, no? Kal, Mahadeva, Lord of time, beyond time.
It has direct relationship, Prabhuji. You see, this is mentioned here. Both sides will be slain. What is the function of time? Kal, in Hindi we call it Kal also. The time has same meaning. So with time, everything changes, we know. With time, our body changes. With time, the universe, many material nature articles of manifestation, they keep on changing. So Kal changes everything, and Kal ultimately eats up everything. Everything is annihilated by time.
Yes,
Ultimately.
yes,
And
Prabhuji,
Lord Shiva is the master of, the controller of mode of ignorance. And he is the designated officer of annihilation. Annihilation means whenever there is, the end of the universes, end of universes has to come. Then that is the charge. That he is the annihilator, also destroyer. Lord Brahma is the creator, Lord Vishnu is the maintainer, and Lord Shiva is the destroyer ultimately. So that is why he is called Mahakal. He destroys everything. Now Lord Krishna says, Aham Kalo Asmi. Time I am destroyer of the worlds. Everything we know, our body, our house, our material nature, Prakriti, everything is changing with the time. So as I was telling, that time deity has originated from the Sudarshan Chakra of Lord Krishna and puts everything to death ultimately. From sunrise to sunset, it is time which is changing. So we should meditate upon this fact, the role of time deity, that from morning to evening we get time for Krishna consciousness. We time to worship Lord Krishna. So this time must be utilized in a very, very logical and wise manner. So time destroys everything, human body, empire, dynasties, so many dynasties, Roman, Greek, and Chandragupta Maurya and Maurya dynasty, Gupta dynasty, everything has vanished with the time. So, but the person who are intelligent, they want to use this time for developing devotional service to Lord Krishna or bhakti of Krishna. So this body is subject to change. So we are running very fast from birth to growth to stage of stagnations to production of certain defects, then dwindling and vanishing. We are somewhere in these stages. So Arjuna is now told that I am the time, and he has told that what is going to be the outcome of battle. That is disclosed by Lord Krishna here only, that I have come to engage all people with the exception of you. That means everybody is going to get killed by my design. The Pandavas, except the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. So this is Lord Krishna's prediction or outcome of the battle, what is going to happen in the future. Then he says, Tasmat, sorry. Tasmat tvam uttishta yasho labhasva jitva satrun bhungshva rajyam samradham mayyevaite nihataha purvameva nimitta matram bhav sabhyasachin. Tasmat, therefore. That means it is a continuation of the previous verse. Tasmat ustist yasholabh. Therefore, you get up, yasholabh, have the benefit of yash or fame by killing those persons, killing the Kauravas, and of course ruling this beautiful state. Jitra satrun bhukshamav rajyam samradham. Therefore, get up and prepare to fight after conquering your enemies. Jitva satru. Enemies, you will enjoy a flourishing kingdom, that is Samradh Rajya. Maye vete nehta purmeva. This is very important word. Maye vete nehta. That means by my own arrangement, which was by my own arrangement made earlier, nimit matram bhav sabhyasachin. Because it is my previously made design that my will or my design that all these people will get killed in this war, and you will win. You will win over these enemies, and also you will enjoy the prosperous state of Hastinapur. Nimit matram bhavasachin. I have already done it, so you become just an instrument in this mission of mine. Because I have already killed. He showed the universal form, and everybody was rushing into the mouth. Both the soldiers, all the Kauravas, all the chieftains of Kauravas, and all the Pandavas army men. Everybody was, except 5 Pandavas, everybody was getting killed. So Krishna is assuring that look, by my earlier made design, everything is going to get finished in this war. That is going to die. So just get up, fight, and get this honor of ruling a very, very prosperous state. Oh, Sabhyasachin can be but an instrument in the way. What is the meaning of Sabhyasachin? This word was used earlier also. Bhagavadgita? Anyone would like to know? Sabhyasachin means one who is expert in shooting arrows. That is called Sabhyasachin. So you can see there is a surgeon's hand here in the picture, and a scalpel which is used for cutting open the human body. That is it. So it represents the fact that the surgeon that you are not the indication here is that you are not, Arjuna is not the doer of this battlefield. Doer in the battlefield. The doer is Lord Krishna. What is to be done has already been decided and done by Lord Krishna himself. Arjuna is just going to be Nimitra Matra. That means he is going to be just symbolic or just an instrumental in this Krishna's arrangement. Similarly, this surgeon's knife, in fact, who decides here? The scalpel decides what part to be opened and how to be opened, or the surgeon decides?
Surgeon.
Surgeon decides. Na? So that is the purpose, that Krishna has already, so Krishna is like surgeon. He has already decided what kind of surgery is to be performed. And Arjun is, these fingers, or probably the scalpel represents the Arjun only, that you have to do this like, but I am going to direct you. So he has already designed the destiny of all the Kauravas, all the Pandavas, except the 5 Pandavas. So he is instructing now, after telling what is going to be the outcome of this battle. Now he is telling, just stand up, tasmat tvam uttishta. That means just you get up therefore and fight. So become Krishna's instrument. So in fact, yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, before you move to the next shloka, I just wanted to add something. After you finish this shloka.
Yes.
Can I speak?
Yeah, Prabhuji, boliye.
Yes, Prabhuji, the thing is, I think that we are getting a little, out of track with respect to the reference of Lord Shiva, wherein you are mentioning repeatedly that Lord Shiva is a subordinate god under Krishna. I beg to differ with that, even compared to what the previous Prabhuji asked the query, that Shiva is asked as the Mahakal or the controller of time. So I don't think that this connotation, what it is being preached by you, it is written in the Gita. Nowhere in none of the slokas it is mentioned about Lord Shiva. So I think that making Shiva subordinate to Lord Krishna, that would not be the right teaching to circulate in the environment, because there is nowhere in none of the slok the word Shiva is mentioned. And I saw that you had mentioned in slok number 11.115.
Cash લેવાના છે કે 4000 કહું કેટલા કહું?
Prabhuji, it is mentioned in Bhagavadgita. I'm reading that translation only. There is nothing added from my
Prabhuji,
side.
if you just read slok number 11.15, in that you were just covering that slok. So I just read that slok. In that there is a mention of Brahma as the subordinate god, but there is no mention of Lord Krishna in 11.15.
Shiva.
But you had mentioned that Shiva is a subordinate god. So there, I think that it is, you should, I think the preaching should be that it is a different context. That Shaivism speaks Shiva as the supreme lord, and Bhagavad Gita or the reference in Gita, it shows Krishna as the supreme lord. So there are different contexts to it, or different understanding at looking at that particular concept of the supreme consciousness. So you as a follower of Vaishnavism or as Krishna, you can mention that it is one perspective of looking at it, but you cannot just outrightly say, sir, that Shiva is a subordinate god or a demigod, because that demigod thing about Lord Shiva, I don't find it written in any of the Sanskrit sloka. If that is written, Prabhuji, request that you can enlighten.
Okay, Prabhuji, will before entering into discussion, let me finish up this. We can have a separate discussion on this issue afterwards also. So please.
Yes, because as far as the Shaivism teaching goes, and as far as the followers of Shiva say who has come much beyond before Lord Krishna.
No offense to anyone, Prabhuji. We'll talk about it.
So yes, Prabhuji, just my submission that the outlook should be like that it is the perspective given through Bhagavad Gita. But it is not the only perspective that Lord Shiva is a subordinate demigod.
Of course, Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji, let the class finish and then we can take questions.
No, but the class is taking a lead in that
not,
direction.
Prabhuji, it is not 11.5. My submission, please. 11.5, but read the purport of 11.15.
Yes, I was mentioning 11.15 only.
I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and many sages and divine serpents. This is mentioned in the purport, the translation of this verse, Prabhuji. No, I am not added Shiva from my side.
Prabhuji, this translation as Lord Shiva, now you can read the slok which is there. In the slok, is there a mention of Lord Shiva? I would like to know that. The slok doesn't have a mention of Lord Shiva.
Anyway, we'll discuss this. Prabhuji, there are more 54 verses in this chapter. Let me go fast, and we'll, at the end of the chapter, we'll discuss the issue, right?
Right, Prabhuji.
So this is now what he is saying, we mentioned about the surgeon, the Lord Krishna in Arjun's role, and what the scalpel represents. Scalpel acts on the instructions or under command of surgeon. This is what Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna to do: stand up and fight. So, and he's also telling, he has given an indication that you are going to win ultimately, because that means he's asking to rule this prosperous state. So Dronam cha Bhishmam cha Dratham cha Karnam tathanyan, Karnam tathanyaapi Nyarpit Yodhaviran Maya Hastan Svatava Atavya Jahima Vyatishta Yudhasva Jetasi Rane Sapatnan. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karan, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle. Now, all these are the top commanders: Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karn, and other great warriors on the side of Kauravas. They have already been destroyed by me. Therefore, kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in the battle. So now Arjuna was bewildered, astonished, and disturbed also. He was afraid, scared. So Kshatriya has to be brought back to his normal composure in order to be able to fight this battle. So Lord Krishna has already not only the entire army, but all the key persons of the opposite party, they are also dead by his arrangement. This is being explained by Lord Krishna here. So furthermore, he says, Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, now Sanjaya is telling, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Arjuna trembled, fearfully offered obeisances with folded hands, and began falteringly to speak as follows. So this was again intervention by Sanjaya to Dhritarashtra, that he is narrating to Dhritarashtra that what happened, that after listening all these talks, to which he is a witness also, he says that now Arjuna is going to say, O Rishikesha, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respective homage, the demons are afraid and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O Rishikesha. Now, why this word is being used by? Because Krishna is the controller of all senses. He is the master of all senses of all living entities. So he's saying that now, since you are also controlling my senses, so now I'm better composed now. And he starts praying Lord Krishna that world becomes joyful by hearing your name. We know that chanting gives an immense bliss and pleasure when we do it in a very without any aparadh. The chanting is without any aparadh or offenses. Then it gives immense joy and bliss to us. So world becomes very joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected being offers you with their respective homage. Perfected means even the Paramahansas, the purest of the pure devotees. Everybody pays respect to you. The demons are afraid. But demons, they are duskritas, they are always scared of you, and they flee here and there. And this was exactly what was happening in the battlefield. By mere presence of Krishna, the heart of, or by the blowing of the conch shells, everybody, the heart of all the Kauravas had shattered. So they were so much scared here. Then comes, O great one who stands above even Brahma, you are the original master. Why should they not offer their homage up to you? O limitless one, O refuse of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. So Lord is transcendental to material manifestations. Now we have seen that how this, in fact, in the earlier verse, we can see it was during the Bangladesh war. This was important. O Rishikesha, how these senses are controlled by Krishna. There is an incident narrated by Srila Prabhupada that during Bangladesh war, that was liberation in 1970, Prabhupada had sent some of the devotees to in this Bangladesh for helping the poor people who were thirsty, had no food, no place to live in, all those difficulties they were facing due to this kind of liberation forces. So that time, these people were, wearing Kantimala, Vishnu Tilak, dress, playing Mridang, doing Harinam Sankirtana, chanting all the time. So the army men, those days they were instructed, shoot anybody who is whoever moves out of the house or is seen in the streets. So these people were fearlessly chanting and moving on the roads and helping people. So the army men asked, "Who are you? Who are you people?" They said, "We are Haribol." They knew that we are going to be killed now very soon. So they were very fearless and they raised their hand and cried, shouted loudly, "Haribol." They knew that they are going to shoot these people. So army men, in fact, they thought, why these are very unusual type of behavior by these people. So they went to their seniors and these seniors officers came. Then these devotees, they explained what the purpose of coming there, and they were ultimately spared. So you can see the name of Haribol, name of Lord Krishna, what kind of impact that made on the senses of the senior officers, that they were spared of their life. So this is the mahima of chanting of Lord's name. So you are the original personality of Godhead. You are the only sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You know sanctuary because he saw all planets, all demigods, all living entities, all manifestations, sun, moons, everything in this cosmic form. You know everything and you are all that is knowable. You are above the material modes of material nature. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. This is what Lord Krishna had said earlier, that I pervade this universe and I support it. So now after this realization and prayers, then he starts apologizing to Lord Krishna in 41-42. I have in the past addressed you as O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, without knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in the madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times while relaxing or while lying on the same bed or eating together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of my friends. Please excuse me for all my offenses. After seeing, from Sakya Bhav to Dasya Bhav to after this sense of wonder, the relationship is again changing. Now he is again in a mode of Dasya Bhav. He is remembering now that he is the supporter, creator, maintainer, controller of every universe or everything that is in these universes or that shall ever be in future. So he is now apologetic. He is saying that I have called you by names. I have called you Yadava, O my friend, and we have slept on the same cot. We have eaten from the same plate, and also I have insulted you before many people in the past, knowingly or unknowingly. But maybe knowingly or unknowingly, or maybe out of madness, being crazy, or maybe out of love. So please forgive me all what I have done to you. Adrashtapurvam Hristo Asmit Drashtva Bhayen cha Prabhyathitam Mano me Tadev me Darsha Deva Rupam Prasid Devesh Jagan Nivasa. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time, my mind is disturbed with fear because that is so terrible and, fearsome that he is now disturbed again. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal your form as personality of Godhead, O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. So he is praying back now, return to your original four-armed forms, Supreme Personality of or the Narayan form. So relationship, he wants to establish the relationship of love and worship again with Lord Krishna. That is why he is requesting that in this universal form, there were thousands and thousands of arms, bellies, legs, mouth, eyes, hands. So, and it was tremendous to watch. And the effulgent suns, all sun, moons, demigods, yaksha, devtas, all they were, and or not only this form, but everyone was rushing into the mouth of, mouth of this universal form. We know in that there is a given in the purport by Lord Srila Prabhupada, that in rainy seasons we know that there is a lamp post in the street and there are a lot of wasps and insects. They rush in hundreds towards the source of light by coming in touch with the heated bulb surface or the glass. They get instantly killed. So this is the manner in which everybody was rushing to Krishna's mouths. Unlimited. O universal Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. Now he's terrified but composed, and he wants to see Lord in the Narayan form, which is Shankh, Chakra, Gada, and this club. So club, wheel, and Shankh, Chakra, and lotus flower in your hands. I want long to see that form. So he is now getting composed. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form. Now Krishna is replying, O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine, for neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing exercises, nor by charities of similar activities can this form be seen. Only you have seen this. And how Arjuna has seen this? Arjuna has seen this form by virtue of being a devotee of Krishna. That is, again, importance on the Bhakti Yoga is emphasized, that neither by karma, nor by yoga, nor by any other mental speculation or philosophical speculations, one can see Krishna. So Krishna validates the Arjuna's fear. Yes, this form is indeed terrible, and I would like to see on Arjuna's prayer, he would like to see that four-armed form only. Your mind has been perturbed upon seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now Krishna is realizing that he is very much disturbed. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free from all disturbance. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. So Lord agrees at the devotee's request to show his four-armed form. We can know the configuration of all these four items in the Lord Narayan's. So original nature of Arjuna is returning, and he is relatively pacified after being so much of Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, while speaking thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last he showed him his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful. Because nobody can, normally people cannot have that relationship with four-armed form of Lord Krishna as they can have a two-armed form. So Lord Krishna returns to two-armed form in this on the prayer of Arjuna. When Arjuna saw this, sorry.
Vrinda Mataji, please mute yourself.
When Arjuna saw Krishna in his original form, he said, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, my mind is now pacified and I am restored to my original form. That is, he is composed now and pacified. The blessed Lord said, my dear Arjuna, the form which you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Not only for Arjuna, but the demigods even are praying intensely and very, very eagerly to have this darshan of this two-armed form of Lord Krishna, which they are not able to do so. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear, because Krishna's, Shyam Sundar Roop is one of the most dear to devotees. Shyam Sundar Roop is most worshipful, most lovable, and that is why Brijvasi and everybody wants to see Krishna in that Shyam Sundar form only. And they have lot of relationship. They have Vatsalya, how many Brijvasis are the true purest and true devotees of Lord Krishna, because they have a Vatsalya for relationship with Krishna as well as Radharani. So next verse, Krishna says, "My dear Arjun, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, stand before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding." So this is last verse of chapter 11 or universal form. And now the stage is set for devotional service. Now, how to do devotional service, what kind of devotional service Krishna likes, that is going to be explained by Lord Krishna in chapter number 12. The title is again the devotional service or the Bhakti Yoga, the pinnacle or the climax of this middle section of Bhakti Yoga. So, my dear Arjuna, only by undivided, ananya bhakti, that is Gyan Karmadi Anavratam, Anya Abhyasita Shunyam. There is no other desire except worshipping Krishna. There is no desire, there is no karma, there is no jnana, there is no mental speculation or philosophical speculations. So by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. This is that is the bhakti which is Lord Krishna is going to mention about in the chapter number 12. So there are 4 conditions which are mentioned. The devotional service has to be pure. It has to be free from reactions to previous karmas or previous sins. There should be, all sins must be washed off from the heart if one is going to do pure devotional service. And there should be no mental speculation, because no mental speculation that God has a form or not form, or we assume our own, create our own imaginary form of Lord Krishna. So that is not to be there. And person has to be friendly to everyone. So these are 4 categories, where 4 essential qualifications which are described. So this is the last verse, 54. Lord says that yes, through pure devotional service, you can see Bhaktya tva ananya sakya aham evam vidho Arjuna gyatum drashtum cha tattvena pravishtam chat param tapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. Sorry, this is one more verse. So, mat karma kran mat parmo mad bhakta sangha varjita nirvereha sarva bhuteshu yasa mam eti pandava. My dear Arjun, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities, no karmic activities, and mental speculation, that is yogis, karmis and yogis, he who works for me, that means he who serves me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. So this is the assurance, and this is the story. I think everybody will remember. Ajamila got second chance, and then Vishnu Dut came him. So he went to Goloka Vrindavan after rendering devotional service in second chance. Earlier, you know what kind of person he was, a very, very sinful person, but the 10th child, the boy, not by the name of Narayana, salvaged this pure soul, and ultimately he reached the Goloka Vrindavan. That is the assurance of Lord Krishna. So in this chapter, we have seen a couple of things. Arjuna, in the first part, Arjuna requests Krishna to show this universal form, which was very terrible, no limits, no beginning, no end, no middle, and so many millions of eyes and mouths and that beautiful ornaments, decorations, then perfume, everything, and then sun, moon, all demigods, living entities, army, everything going inside. Lord Krishna described this his universal form, and then Arjuna's vision of what Arjuna actually saw, that what Krishna wanted to show him, and then after Krishna told, whatever you want to see now or ever in the future, you see it now. Arjuna's vision of the universe, what he saw, and then what was his experience after it, and how he started praying ultimately. Then that is the end. Chapter ends with the pure bhakti needed to see Krishna. These 4 or 5 qualities which are mentioned in this last verse, 55. Those are the qualities that can lead one to pure bhakti. And what is this pure bhakti which Krishna loves, and what are the different steps of rising in this spiritual journey of pure devotional service. That is explained in chapter number 12, the Bhakti Yoga. So we come to end of this topic. I'll stop recording before we can talk further.